Heyo! Welcome to another episode of Obsidian Extra Lives, the show where we were streaming weekly, the only developer streaming weekly, but we launched a game and we're kind of busy with some things. But we're back to you weekly. I'm here joined with gameplay programmer Adrian Hernandez.
Hello.
Who is going to join us to play some Greek Memories of Azor to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month and developers, because I am terrible at pronouncing things. I'm going to read it out. Navigante Studios. Do you know a lot about this yet?
This game?
Yeah.
No, I know actually nothing besides the title.
Okay, so it's a side-scroller action adventure situation.
I'm excited.
Okay.
I want it to go in blind, specifically.
You want it to what?
I want it to go in blind.
Oh, yeah. No, that'll be good.
Yeah.
We are here to continue to raise money for the Children's Hospital of Orange County that are helping children with treatment through severe illnesses, supports for the family, and research. It's very near and dear to us here at Obsidian, and we've got some fun options for people to donate to. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about you, or do you want to just jump in the game first?
I can tell you a little bit about me.
Okay, not too much.
Okay, a tiny bit.
Okay.
I am Adrian, which I think we already knew.
We did.
I'm a gameplay programmer here at Obsidian, currently working on the Outer Worlds 2. Yeah, that's a tiny bit.
That's a tiny bit?
Yeah.
Apparently, you're a very handsome guest as well.
Oh.
It's weird. Nobody ever says that about me, so I think it must be true about you, because I'm here.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I like a compliment every now and again.
Right? How can you be a handsome guest when you're the host? I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Point.
All right, so let's jump into it. Right now, you're a gameplay programmer, right?
I am a gameplay programmer right now.
What were you doing before you were in programming, or before you even knew you wanted to work in games? Or did you always know you wanted to work in games?
So I kind of always knew I wanted to work in, well, since I was little, I knew I wanted to work in games. Since I was a wee lad, I actually went to school specifically to learn games. Ouch.
Did your high school specialize in games?
My high school did not specialize in games.
Okay.
My high school had one computer class, like one programming class, and I did the first assignment, and then never did any other assignments. But the teacher thought I did them all. It was not a great.
I might be reaching, but well, it's about the game and maybe where some of the influence came from is like Lost Vikings, maybe.
Lost Vikings. I could see that. Now I've never played Lost Vikings, but I've seen it. It does feel that. It also has like a little bit of a Trine vibe.
Yes, Trine is the more recent.
Yeah.
Yeah. What game got you into games and then wanting to program?
That's a good question. It would probably be like a PS2, like all the PS2 games.
All of them.
That I played when I was young.
Okay.
I guess I should say.
Thank you.
Hold on, let me read this lore real quick.
I got a timer, so now I'm going to talk like Meatwad for 5 minutes.
Oh, fun.
All right, so which game got you into programming? So
Okay.
you said all PS2 titles?
Not all PS2 titles. Greek Talks. I think you talked earlier. I just missed it.
Sorry, I distracted you.
No, that's okay. This is Riem. I think her sister is Adara.
Oh, that makes sense.
If I remember correctly. The game that I think the oldest PS2 game I remember is, I think it was like a, what are the race car toys? The tiny race car toys.
Micro Machines?
No.
Hot Wheels?
Hot Wheels.
Okay.
It was a Hot Wheels
small.
game. Yeah. It was a Hot Wheels game where you drove around and battled other Hot Wheels cars, and you could get like power-ups and things. I think it was Hot Wheels.
Was it Twisted Metal and you're just putting Hot Wheels in it? Because Twisted Metal...
Twisted Metal's with the clowns, right?
Yeah, clown.
It wasn't the Twisted Metal.
Okay.
It had like an X in the title, like Hot Wheels X or something like
That
that.
sounds like that could be real.
Yeah. Bowl of hot soup.
Ooh.
There's 3 life points. Where are my life points? Is it the top left?
I think it's the top left. Well, there's top left.
Oh.
Do you need to do funny voices too?
Is it?
I mean...
Am I supposed to? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's see. I'll go similar to yours because in music, I think similar sounding instruments
You want
go well
the
together.
harmony.
Yeah. I don't know how music works.
I don't know how art works, music works.
I'll go light. I'll go a light voice. Well, hello.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good. That's good, boy.
it's real time.
So, Hot Wheels X
Hot Wheels X.
got you into
It was
programming.
very fun.
Very fun.
Well, it was super fun, and at some point I realized I wanted to make games like that.
Okay.
Bring joy to the masses.
Did you ever make a racing game?
No, I didn't.
So you didn't bring that joy.
No, I didn't bring that joy at all. I can't say I actually do want to make a racing game because I don't play racing games. It actually wasn't a racing game. It was a car combat game.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Car combat. I got mixed up, you know.
Yeah, that happens.
So, PlayStation Square, colored square, right?
PlayStation was a colored square. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was. I'm saying, so we went from PlayStation 2 to making a colored square
That makes sense.
to going to college
Yeah,
to program.
yeah, that was it. That was the order.
What was that like? Was it like interesting, challenging,
College specifically?
like
or-
programming in college? I mean,
Yeah, so it was challenging. Specifically, so it took me a while to like get good at programming.
okay,
Really
that
understand.
practice makes permanent.
The first year of college, I had no idea what I was doing. And I really got by. It wasn't until the second year that I was like, okay, some of this is starting to make sense. And that's when all the pieces came together.
So the second year,
Yeah, the second year.
what was so different about the first and the second?
So the second year had a weed out class.
Oh, I've been in one of those.
It was specifically like, hey, you got to figure this out or you're out of here, buckaroo.
Is that how they talk in Texas?
That's how they talk in Texas.
Okay.
Yeehaw and buckaroo.
That makes sense. That's right.
Yeah. Howdy.
Howdy, yeah.
Yeah.
The colloquial greeting.
Yeah.
So I don't know if your program was like mine, but at the end I had to do this big like graphic design thing. But like I made a magazine and took photos and wrote it and let it out, right? Nobody can understand that because now it's getting all gurgly.
I missed a couple words in there, I'll be honest. I think I heard graphic design at one point.
Oh, yeah, you did. But, so what I was trying to say is, I'm wondering if your program, was there like a final piece that you had to do that was like the thing you programmed, or did you work on a team at any point during your programming schooling? Because while making something yourself could be really cool, I think working with the team could also prepare you for what's to come in the future. So did you have like a final project?
Yeah, yes, kind of. So in grad school. So I went to grad school after.
Oh, you're one of them really smarts.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I'm like just a dude who went to grad school. But my grad school program had sort of a bunch of team projects where we worked in a team. And that was honestly the main benefit of that because, you can learn programming on the internet if you really want.
You're good. We're good.
Oh, okay, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Whew.
Thank you, Moon, for the donation to helping the chids.
You can honestly learn programming on your own if you have the drive and motivation. But I think what my grad school, the Guildhall, just to throw the name out there, really helped with was that we worked on a lot of team projects. So we sort of faced the issues that you face when working in a team that you might not think of. And I think that really helped because I've come across no problems in my professional career after grad school that I didn't already face and learn to move through in grad school, which I think was really good.
That's interesting though, because you're not part of what I like about jobs and stuff that we do here, the random things, is there's always a new challenge or something to figure out and solve the problem and then implement it. But so you're saying you've encountered so many of the things that you're I know how to handle this in this situation. I mean, obviously there's specific instances.
Yeah, so it's specifically with working in a team.
Okay.
Cross-discipline communication and that sort of thing. In terms of programming, there's always things I'm going to face that I've never come across. I like to call programming the world's greatest puzzle because it's just a bunch of problems and you have a bunch of pieces and you're just trying to figure out how to solve those problems. But yeah, in terms of teamwork, super handy. super good.
Did your grad program at that point starting to like combine disciplines and things like that for your final thing, or was it all programmer?
Yes, so it did combine disciplines, and that was honestly a part of the advantages of it, because I was able to learn how artists communicated, learn how level designers communicated, learn how producers communicated, because they don't talk like programmers all the time. And I think that was beneficial. You know, the realization that you can't talk too technical to some people, or some disciplines, I should say, or that, not that you can't, but that you shouldn't in some cases, was pretty big.
Yeah, I think what I find is there's so many different words and terms for each different part of game design that it's really hard to keep up with. So sometimes when somebody says something and says, "Oh, it's this," I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah.
Because I did not know that, but now I know that thing, and I'll add that to my library.
Yeah, and I think that like it's also sort of important to like not be afraid to ask questions a lot of the time. Like there's so much information out there, and there's a lot that you don't know, and it's best to just be like, if you don't know something, it's best to just be like, "Hey, I don't understand what you're talking about. Can you sort of explain that a little further?" Or like, "I've never come across that. What's going on there?" Rather than being like, "I'll not say anything because I don't want to be the only one in the room that doesn't know," because that's ultimately more detrimental.
Yeah, because essentially if you don't know you're working on something, you might get it right, or you could completely screw it up and just waste all that time.
Yeah.
And if you're ever at a place and you feel like you can't ask a question, or you're so anxious to not, it's like, maybe that's not the best place, right? Because everybody should be able to ask questions so everybody's on the same page.
For sure, yeah. Absolutely. 100% agree. Generally, when someone asks questions, it's good to have the first instinct of like, "Let me answer this," rather than, "Why don't you know that?"
So after grad school, what was your final project in grad school?
So in grad school, my final project specifically, everyone had a couple different projects. My final project was a game called Lost in the Dark.
Okay.
And it was a horror game, and I hate horror games. I don't hate them, but I get very scared. I'm a little scared of cat. I was scared making that game.
Okay, that's kind of cool though that you went with something that is not like your go-to, right? Like out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. So we sort of all got assigned to games, and I thought this game seemed the coolest. We could like set our preferences in that. I thought this game sounded the coolest, so I put that at the top of my list, and then they put me on that project. And then I sort of remembered after I got on that project, "Oh wait, I'm a big scaredy cat. This is gonna be a problem." But it was fine. It was fine. I couldn't test as much because I got super scared, but it was fine.
Now let's quickly just talk about Lost in the Dark.
Okay,
And
yeah.
what the game was.
You play as a little girl going through this house, and you had this lantern that would sort of keep you safe, keep the world lit. But you could turn it off to turn into a ghost and go through some specific walls.
Okay.
But the longer you were in the dark, the more this creature, I don't think we officially gave him a name.
Let's call him Ben.
Okay, yeah, sure. Ben was very spooky and would come after you. And there were parts where you needed to sneak around him. Or you needed to sneak around him while you were in ghost form. It's been so long.
Okay.
Just know Ben was spooky, and he walked a little bit like this, and he's made a shadowy
So
stuff.
you made a like a stealth horror game where there's like sneaking as well as being chased and fear, right?
Yes.
If I were to just give it a quick elevator generalization.
Yeah.
Okay. So after that, you started working with a company that was to help develop software for people with literacy issues?
Yes, so we were developing an app called Words for Atlantis, something like that. And it was to help teach illiterate adults across the U.S. how to read, because as it turns out, literacy is a huge issue, even among adults in the U.S. I don't remember what the statistics were. I don't remember what the percentage of adults that were illiterate is, but it's higher than you would think.
Okay.
And so we were trying to help fix that by gamifying the problem.
Oh, okay. So you were making a game. You were like this is a really reductive way of looking at it, but you were doing Mavis Beacon teaches to type, but instead of teaching to type, how people to read and gamifying it for adults.
Yes.
And nobody gets that reference.
I didn't get the reference.
No, Mavis Beacon, she teaches you to type when you go to school.
Was it a typing game?
Yeah. I mean, it was like a typing, but then it had a game in it. I guess if you wanted to gamify it, you could play Typing of the Dead.
I did like
I
Typing of the
love
Dead.
Typing of the
Yeah.
Dead. Oh, that guy's kind of cool.
Yeah, I've felt one before.
Seems like, oh, he had your number for a second.
Yeah, uh-oh.
No time for cooking. Rip Mavis Beacon, right? What made you want to go into that as your first thing, or was it you were like just eager to go for the first thing that you went, or you genuinely were like, I want to do something that's impactful?
So, so it's sort of a long story. In my undergrad program, for the final, my school had this feature, this program where instead of doing a senior year of undergrad, you could start grad school. And my year was the last year that did that, but there were only like 5 people in my class because we started like in a mid-semester period. And they were like, 5 people is not enough for a whole class for 2 years. So you'll do like one semester, and then you can get an internship, and then you'll pick up with the class when they get to their second semester.
Okay.
So we did that, and during that time they were like, we're gonna try to find you guys internships, and this was one of those.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But it was also, it just happened to also be very rewarding.
Did the software ever come out?
That's a great question. I am unsure.
Okay.
I didn't keep up with it after I left. But
One hopes.
One hopes. I think so when I left the project, we were sort of trying to find funding because we'd run out of funding, and we were working on that. And I think they found it, but I honestly don't know.
Yeah, funding is paramount to stuff like that, right? Because for some reason nobody's like, oh, I'll pay a bunch of money and make sure people can, be literate. It's like that's really a hard thing to achieve.
For sure.
Which is a bummer, but hopefully they did. And even if they didn't, you were still trying to contribute positively to something that could help a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. And we were working with I forget the organization, but there's an organization that teaches classes to help adults learn how to read, and they have a curriculum. We were working with them to sort of figure out best practices for our app. So even if the app didn't come out, that organization still exists.
Your waterfall theory did not pan out there.
And actually, that's the second time I've done that, and I just forgot about it. But as soon as I jumped in, I thought, I did this before already. I'm gonna go.
I like that you committed to it, though. You weren't like, you just went straight in. Okay, and so you get the job at Obsidian as a junior programmer.
That's right, yeah.
And what game was that on?
I came on to Outer Worlds 1.
Okay. Was it everything like that you expected, or did you get more opportunities to do like higher level things that you don't think a junior would do?
So yes to both questions.
Okay.
In terms of everything I expected, going through, spending my life sort of trying to make games in a professional setting, and then finally getting to a studio and getting to do that, I had an idea in my head from all my experience at the Guildhall and then the other jobs, and then I got here and it sort of met all those dreams.
Man, the Guildhall really prepared you well.
Yeah.
Is this like the Harry Potter Hogwarts for programming?
I'm gonna say yes.
It sounds like
I
it.
loved it. It was so great. And I kept waiting for the thing that this is gonna be new and crazy. You're not gonna know what to do, but it never really came.
Okay.
It was always just sort of this is just a fun time. Yeah, I like playing games, just hanging out with my pals and coding stuff.
Yeah. Is that so? You feel it seems like you you have a grasp on the challenges and things like that. Is there anything about your job now that you've shipped a game, you're working on another game, you're no longer a junior programmer, that somebody presents to you and there is something still challenging, or is it's just kind of another problem and you embrace that?
So to be fair, there is always a challenge. People come and say, hey, we want to do this specific thing, and then I've got to figure out how to do that specific thing. And there's always a level of challenge there, but that's like, it's almost an expected challenge. Like, I know I'm going to be doing that. There's no one coming out and saying, hey, you need to suddenly do all these other things that you had no idea even existed, and figure out how to do them and that kind of thing. So yes, there is always a challenge, but it's always expected.
Would you say the most rewarding thing is watching people play the game afterwards, or what? Actually, I won't even load it. What is the most rewarding thing about?
It's too late. You've influenced my decision.
Terrible.
Let me try to give you a different answer.
Okay.
That's not because it is very rewarding watching people play the games and like enjoying it. It's just fun to see. Oh boy, that is my answer.
Is it?
though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done that.
It is getting. You spend years working on a thing and then people finally play it, and it's not always perfect. But even like, it's also harder. It's easier to be critical on yourself when you're making something. Like you make this thing and you're like, ooh, this is a problem, and ooh, this is also a problem.
You're so close to it.
But then when people play it and they're like, hey, this is a good time, and they don't see those problems, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. We were even talking about it just now, right? The tiny slivers that I was like obsessing about. You're like, I don't really see them. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, you saw those slivers and I said, don't know what you're talking about. And then you pointed it out and I was like, okay, I guess I see it.
Those are glaring.
The answers.
Tom
right?
Hanks. Tom Hanks.
You said 3 meals?
Yeah, you get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And Jefferson, thank you for another $70 for being a terrible person. Chris, how about a couple of Hot Wheel logos and some beans to spice things up again, since the first didn't seem to work? Eric or Cindy or whoever's the best Hot Wheels logo makeup person, you want to come by and Hot Wheels me up?
Now, Hot Wheels is actually a pretty cool logo because it's got like the flames and the...
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
It's gonna be something.
Yeah.
Oh, we're doing some touch-ups.
Here we go. 4. Okay, this time, don't try to break it. Just jump to the thing. Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
Wasted
okay.
too much time.
6, 7.
Wasted
Yeah.
too much time.
I got it. I've got it.
You're out. Oh, nice.
God, elixir permanently.
Oh, nice.
Heck yeah.
A fun optional thing.
Now we're talking.
Cindy, you were really. Just want to say thank you so much for joining us today, helping raise money for the Chids. We ate some beans. We lived. We laughed. We loved. Thank you, everybody, for the donations and the support. Make sure to check out Greek Memories of Azure on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and the Switch. Thank you, Navigante, for joining us while we showcased your game. It was a pleasure. Goodbye.
Bye.